I finally understood the real purpose of Boss Jiang's visit to me. He came to me to borrow money. Boss Jiang is a well-known figure in the same industry in this city, and he is also the boss with the largest number of mines under his name. At its peak, several mines can earn tens of millions of yuan in revenue per day. If it weren't for the adjustment of national policies and running around Macau every day, why would he ask someone to borrow money? The 3 mines under his name were worth at least 200 million based on the market price half a year ago, and even now they cannot be worth less than 100 million. The ore mined from his mines is of high quality, and the selling price is the highest among similar products. He said, Sister Zhao is enough to do this. Of course I believe what a shrewd woman Sister Zhao is. Of course he knows very well how much Boss Jiang is worth, so he won't be anxious about this little money. Maybe the ma liang he earned far exceeded this amount. Facing Boss Jiang's words, I felt a little embarrassed. After all, I wasn't at home, otherwise I could have opened the safe and given it to him. How did he know that I would lose such a big hole last night, let alone that I was planning to make a turnaround with this little capital? Boss Jiang said with a slight embarrassment, it doesn't matter, brother, if it's inconvenient. I interrupted Boss Jiang and said, brother, don't worry, I still have more than 200 in the card, can we both do half of it? Boss Jiang responded overjoyed, then let's go have a meal together and start work after dinner. After dinner, I walked out of the Star Gate, and I found a meal bar nearby and handed him 1 million Hong Kong dollars. And then asked him where he was going. He said that he wanted to go to New Putin to be more prosperous for him. I said okay, I will go to Shanhao Tendi, so we separated. After seeing Boss Jiang off, I took a taxi and went straight to the casino. Now the situation has become more serious. It is extremely difficult to get back 3 million from the original 4 million. Suddenly it became 3 million, and hope became even slimmer. As for Boss Jiang, if you don't speak earlier or later, but you speak like this at this time, I'm going to die. It's the boss's intention to be in trouble. The boss of Sihui Gangjiang personally ordered this opening. In fact, I have 10,000 reasons to refuse this money. First, although we had 2 meals at the same table and had a trip to Macau together, we had never dealt with each other financially, let alone good friends in the true sense. Second, I am short of cash and my limited funds have been included in the investment plan. Third, at the worst, you can tell him the truth and try to get his understanding and support. But in the end I didn't open this mouth, and I couldn't. What I have learned the most in my life is to refuse. I always feel that it is cruel and immoral to refuse someone who is full of hope for you, let alone such a freshman boss. Those who are competitive are more likely to lose their temper. How much courage does it take to open this mouth? Even if I can't achieve my scheduled goal because of the lack of this million people joining, I will admit it. That can only mean that God intends to destroy me. The taxi arrived at the new number in a blink of an eye. When the huge glass turnstile was opened, a familiar smell hit the nostrils. As soon as I woke up, my stuffy nose was completely unblocked. The fragrance that penetrated my heart and spleen was like a shot of cardiotonic, instantly making me extremely excited. I wanted to rush into another world behind the security gate to fight for it. To get back the wealth and dignity that originally belonged to me. At the familiar exchange shop, I cashed out 3 million Hong Kong dollars, and now I only have a few 100,000 yuan left in my card. These 3 million Hong Kong dollars are my final gambling capital for this trip. I must plan carefully, strictly formulate offensive and defensive strategies, and use this limited funds to pry open the sharp ice of the casino to achieve the set goals of this trip. A good teacher once said that you still have to have dreams, just in case they come true. After passing through the midfield hall, I took the escalator directly to the second floor. Only more than 10 hours later, I appeared here again with great satisfaction. After the defeat, the desolate scene was still vivid in my mind, just like the body that had been emptied out, and after a short period of nourishment, it came back with a more high-spirited attitude. There is only one purpose for coming back, and that is to learn. Walking through the long corridor, in the VIP rooms with various names next to me, gamblers of all sizes stayed up all night while playing hard. Money, beauties, chips, these standard features of VIP rooms stimulate the senses of gamblers all the time, making them linger and enjoy themselves. Ideals, ambitions, personal dignity, and even moral bottom lines are all replaced by these standards, bringing with them all kinds of deception, evil, greed, and desire. From tourists to gamblers, and then from gamblers to gamblers, it is a process of decay and transformation. With each further step the label on the demand becomes clearer, and the difference between the person and the gambler becomes clearer. And once you become a gambler, it is equivalent to becoming an animal, and animals cannot understand human language, let alone what family, friendship, husband and wife, and children are. This is by no means alarmist. You only need to open up the dusty memory of any gambler to find out that the crimes involved are serious, and those who suffer the most must be the people closest to them and the ones they love most. Being in it, I was going through this process without realizing it, but I deceived myself and others, doing it in all kinds of lofty names, such as investment and financial management. Without further ado, at the end of the food corridor is Li Yinghui. This VIP room that once haunted me in my dreams and made me love and hate it is now waiting to welcome me. There is no outcome in this game today. Either he can defeat me or I can defeat him. The hall is still the same as before, with less than half of Ruogong's gambling tables. This may be what attracted me to him, it is relatively quiet. I bought 3 million chips from my own account in the counting room and sat down at a gambling table opposite. If there is no small pillar to test, if you have the feeling, you will serve the big pillar with 200,000 to 300,000 yuan. During this period, there was a way to challenge each other. After picking 8 bets in a row, he entered with a small pin. He won 4 bets in a row and the total chips reached 4.8 million. Then it entered a difficult tug-of-war, with Zhuma always staying between 3 million and 4 million, unable to break through. Ma Liang actually got a lot of higuan. She was a little girl who was petite and delicate. If he hadn't met here, he would probably have found various excuses to tease him. However, at this moment, I am simply not in the mood to continue the tug-of-war, which makes me a little impatient. As soon as he exerted his strength, most of the troops fell, and at the lowest point, there were only more than 1 million. After a period of patient tracing, I finally managed to get back to 2.8 million. The phone rang and it was Boss Jiang. He said he would come over to my new account right away and let's have a truce for now. It would be futile to spend any more time, if the superiors might even annihilate the entire army. After walking out of the Prophet Club, I turned into the Fujian Hall next door. The flow of people is relatively large, and all 8 gaming tables are under construction. I didn't bring any chips with me, and I went out for a walk just to relax and adjust. At this time, Boss Jiang called again, "Brother, where are you?" I was at the door of Lying Club. At the end of the corridor stood Boss Jiang, looking around. When he saw me, he ran over immediately. I asked him how his new Putin was playing, and he told me with a frustrated look on his face, "I blame myself for being too greedy. I won 190 at my peak. I wanted to make up a round number and call it a day, but in the end I lost. It's all clean." He hung his banging head, regretful. He is eager and has a lot of horsepower. Once he encounters a good road, he can win very quickly. He is also very fast in the water. I am also greedy. I made a profit of more than 100 at the peak, but now I still lose 20. I sighed. Boss Jiang came to me in such a hurry after clearing his name. His purpose was very clear, but he was too embarrassed to speak, so I happily pretended to be deaf and dumb. After all, I am also nervous about bullets and have an important mission. I took Boss Jiang to the tea restaurant on the first floor. Each of us ordered tremella and lotus seed soup and some snacks, and we chatted while eating. He said that Sister Zhao no longer helped him, and gently reminded him to settle the account as soon as possible. He sighed and said with infinite sadness, "I'm afraid brother's good days are coming to an end. I will sell the mine when I get back, but I really don't want to sell it." I kept comforting him and urging him to be more open-minded. But I know it's useless. The best medicine to treat a gambler is to continue to provide him with poison, but there is nothing I can do because at this moment I am also a gambler who is in urgent need of medicine. Boss Jiang was going back to his room to rest. He said he was very tired and left the new account with great reluctance. Tianxin went up to the second floor, went straight to Lying Club, picked up chips from the accounting room, and immediately joined the war zone. From the time Boss Jiang left at about 5 o'clock until 9 o'clock the next morning, I worked hard at the gambling table of Lying Club, and I was almost exhausted. The chips went up and down several times, reaching the peak of 5.7 million without withdrawing. The last 200,000 also surged all the way to 2.3 million, but still did not withdraw. It was not until the chips were completely cleared that I reluctantly withdrew. At this point, all the 5 million yuan in the card has been lost. Fortunately, he lent 1 million to Boss Jiang and owed Sister Zhao 2 million Hong Kong dollars for towing. The battle to recapture Macau was completely defeated. I dragged my exhausted body and my head back to the star with so much regret that I even forgot to pay the fare when I got off the bus and left straight away. The driver from Shoho City came up to me and kept talking non-stop. I was so angry that I raised my fists and wanted to hit him, which scared Shoho and drove away in a hurry.